Okay, so I'll start off. I apologize. My throat's a little sore. I'm a little bit sick right now, but nonetheless, here's my speech. So, what kind of active lifestyle are you living? Are you a runner? Are you a bodybuilder? Or do you consider yourself to be pretty much inactive? Well, nutrition is pretty broad when you're talking about the different lifestyles people live, but I'm going to cover a few topics over here today. So my name is Garrett Greer. I've been self-studying nutrition for about 4 to 5 years, and I've personally tested several different nutritional ways of getting my nutrition and different ways of fasting on myself. And currently I'm doing a high carb and high protein diet with pretty much no fat. So first off, I'll start by defining macros. Macros are short for macronutrients, and there's 3 of them. There's proteins, carbs, and fats. And they're the 3 components that make up the different nutritions that you need to track to make sure your body's getting the right fuel it needs. I'll start off with protein. So for a runner, they use fast releasing energy during their cardiovascular exercise. So they don't really need that much protein. So really only about 30% of their caloric intake a day needs to be from protein. For a bodybuilder, there's definitely a greater need for protein because in the muscles, protein synthesis occurs, which is necessary for growth and repair of the muscles. So about their body weight times 1 equals the number of grams of protein per day that they'll need. So for a non-active individual, RDA says for sedentary individuals, they should multiply their body weight times 0.36, and that will equal how many grams of protein per day they need. So next up, I'll talk about carbohydrates. For a runner, they need that fast releasing energy that I talked about earlier, which actually does come from the carbohydrates they intake. So they need more carbs than they do fats or proteins. And they should have about 40% of their carbs, 40% of their calories a day from carbs, so that they do not deplete their glycogen levels. Bodybuilders need actually more carbs than runners do because they also need the same fast releasing energy to perform their heavy lifts and their large sets at the gym. So at least 50% of their daily value of carbs, of their daily intake should be of carbs. So non-actives, the RDA says the same statistic for carb intake as for bodybuilders, so that should be about 50% of their caloric intake a day. So finally, I'll talk about fats. Runners definitely need a small amount of fats. They need about 30% of their daily value to be from fats. Bodybuilders is definitely the smallest macro is fats. They need really as little as they can possibly get, especially when they're getting close to a competition and they're trying to shred as much fat as possible. So in general, it needs to be 20% or less of their daily value in fats. It is important to keep in mind that fats are the most calorie dense macro out of the 3. It is 9 calories per gram, while carbs and proteins are only at 4 calories per gram. So for example, a runner needs 30% of their intake to be fats and proteins, but they need significantly less grams of fats as they do proteins because it is much more dense. So here's an example I broke down here. The different macro intake for a runner, bodybuilder, and a non-active individual at 2,000 calories a day for a runner and a bodybuilder, even though most bodybuilders really need significantly more than that, but it's just for comparison purposes. And then the non-active at 150 calories per diet for a 150-pound individual. So a runner needs 600 calories of protein, 800 calories of carbohydrates, and 600 calories of fats. While a bodybuilder also needs 600 calories of protein, needs 1,000 calories of carbohydrates, and about 400 calories of fats per day. While the non-active individual only needs 216 calories of protein, 1,000 calories of carbs still, because that is where their main source of energy is coming from, and only 284 calories of fat. So today I've explained the different nutrition needed for the 3 different lifestyles of running, bodybuilding, and then not being very active at all. And not everybody's going to agree with my numbers here today, but that is the beauty of everybody being unique, and you really just have to test out the different stuff and see what works best for your body. So it is important also to keep in mind that a similar percentage of your caloric intake does not equal a similar number of calories for the runner versus a bodybuilder versus non-active. Each lifestyle you live need less calories, especially a bodybuilder versus a non-active individual who needs way more calories. So that percentage value makes a big difference when you have more calories. But it is really important to try and adjust and see what works best for your body.